The Decision by Robert P. Fitton. Avak feared Edgin 3 was the planet harboring the resurgent biogenic Avak plague. Millions of Prolians and Egrins were at risk if the rumors were true. Even if the resurgence had left the planet, a single infected resurgent could unleash disaster. He walked from the cabin within the wingspan of the Pulver Crest. None of the old Circa officers of the Mariot concurred with his promotion to proltor, nor did they administer the worthiness test. He must prove himself outside the test even more than he had in battle. Delon 35 looked up from the technical panels.
Good morning, proltor. I trust you rested well.
Being called proltor was all he ever wanted. I did. Now we have to prevent resurgent vengeance. Status of Egrin 3. Is the resurgent or the evidence of the Avak plague anywhere down here? He gazed outward over the planet's glaze-covered surface.
We have seen no evidence of the Avak, only the attacks. The peace will end.
Avak looked into his black iPads. No, 35, there will be no more attacks.
Braska Security flashed Egrin 3 status in less than a dirat ago. Ornak's detail is guarding the scanning station.
Good. Once this outer boundary is established, we will keep the resurgence out of the system. But if they spread the Avak, the flash system sounded. Delon 35 lifted the sifter to his tiny red ear. He nodded several times.
Acknowledged.
What's the matter?
Outside, Braska's indicate an approaching storm and the Durza has not returned. Others may be dead, possibly from the resurgence.
Avak tightened his dark, gridded head as Delon 35 listened to the sifter again. Flash Ornak, we need to rejoin the group.
Proltor, Braska's do report a Prolian death. Durza.
How did it happen? How was he killed?
His intake cavity was slashed. You know what that means? The resurgent death blade, its surface can rip like a cluster of rough blades.
While Avak trusted the Prolian with technical prowess, action over resurgent raw strength frightened him. He stepped back from 35 and leaned against the cold portal window. Prepare outside protection.
Are we going to the settlement, Proltor?
Yes, notify the Mariot. His thoughts were consumed by the rigid blue-skin resurgent rigors in full battle set. His greatest fear was the biogenic disease spreading onto the planet and to the Mariot.
Shall I order a full elimination?
Yes, we'll go ourselves. I won't risk everyone. Even with the pad shield, the star's blue light glared off the snow cover in the frosted dome settlement. Avak trudged across the ice pack as the dusty frozen snow swirled in gusts. Ornak opened the connecting pipe corridor and Avak followed 35 inside. He flipped his shield.
Proltor, Durza's upper cavity was cut into a jagged, dried fluid sash. We submit it was the death blade.
I understood the resurgents were driven from this system. Ornak held his pad frames.
No, nothing else, Proltor.
The resurgent death blade. Avak walked through the translucent green corridor back to the main settlement. My only concern is the 3 million Egrin allies in the warmer part of this planet. A single resurgent could spread the Avak. Ornak stepped forward. That is the Braska concern, Proltor. The Mariot would end negotiations if the Avak spreads. The peace would end. You, as Proltor, have a duty to attend this. It is said you were too young to be a proltor, and the worthiness test was waived. Avak nodded and gazed around the icy-framed dome. Clear the settlement.
Proltor?
I said, clear out this place. 35, stay with me.
Yes, Proltor.
Ornak held his ranger. Proltor, you have made the right decision. What will the Mariot Circus think of me as proltor if I don't prove myself? Exactly. You have your orders, Ornak. Begin clearing the Braskas from the settlement. Avak glanced at Delon 35 as he crossed the dark, hardened floor to the center forest cluster. He looked through the thick green leaves and stroked his lower intake lip. If the Circas were not sitting in judgment, would he take on the resurgence himself? Risking death was preferable to a faulty judgment. He watched as the gold-suited Broskers emptied out of the settlement and filed into the connecting corridor. Delnon 35 said nothing, but his dark pads were in flux as he checked his encompass screen. Now Avak had put him in risk to satisfy his own ambitions. "What do you see, 35?
A few stragglers moving down the conductor tubes, but no sign of the resurgence, proltor."
"We will take it lock by lock, securing the sections and sealing them."
"Yes, proltor."
The remaining Broskers appeared as perforated green lines on the encompass screen. Avak heard them emerge from the conductor tubes down the inner corridor. They passed the forest cluster and back to the connecting corridor. Ornek trailed out of the tubes and moved toward Avak and Delnon 35. "Settlement is cleared. I must file a protest." "I insist," said Avak. "Yes, proltor." He held out his spindly ranger. "I wish you a true course." "You have my thanks. Bring the Pova crest to a low-level swing of the planet. We'll flash if we're in trouble." Ornak looked at Delnon 35 and headed past the forest cluster. The outside connector locks were clamped in place. Delnon 35 moved with Avak through the quietude of the circular rim corridor. Both Prolians held fusers outward as the heating systems pumped the vital warming air through the venting tubes. The quick abandonment of the outpost was evidenced by the full beaker of red crasium next to the still activated digital monitor. He left the monitor activated, afraid the silence would further exacerbate his thoughts of the resurgent rigor. Images of the gray, serrated pink-lace deathblade protruding from the range's appendage fostered a lingering doubt in Avak's own abilities. Maybe they had made him proltor too early.
"Fusers are sometimes ineffective on rigor shields,"
said Delnon 35. Avak's iPads tightened. He scanned the smooth surface ahead and gripped his fuser tightly. "And sometimes fusers are very effective, 35. Delnon 35 nodded, but also kept his pads trained ahead as they entered a tinted, clear connector tube to the power units some distance away. Avak convinced himself that if he survived either the Deathblade or the Kofak, his command was respectively secured. He moved into the encloser's shadow. Across the barren wasteland outside was an indented area where the Pova crest had rested only a short time ago. With questions of the Kofak's possible spread over the planet, moving this vessel into orbit was the only answer.
"Proltor!"
cried Delnon 35. He moved toward the silver power generation Symblax. Avak focused his pads on 6 bodies scattered over the Symblax observation lip. Yellow and green body fluids had dripped like the great water cascade on Prolian. His limber appendage tickled his fuser trigger and he planted both feet firmly on the floor. Even from this vantage point, the Deathblade marks across the upper cavities and the lower extremities were vivid.
"Resurgent riggers are not content to use fusers. They must butcher their adversaries. Mutilator."
"I want the Deathblade sent back." Behind them, the Symblax doors quickly slid. Delnon 35 sprinted back, but the doors locked in place. He pulsed his red fuser against the metal, producing a bright glow. "It's holding, proltor." "These are atmospheric locks, 35. Do not drain your fuser." Avak spun, fanning his fuser across the reflective Symblax tanks. From the darkness under the tanks, 2 luminescent aqua-circular pads moved forward. "There!" He aimed his fuser as the resurgent rigger emerged from the shadows as a hulking form with raised appendages as wide as a power linker tube. His huge head was matted with a greasy fur and oversized chomping cutters like a centaur animal.
"I am not responsible for these deaths. Your own people killed the Egrins."
"You expect me to trust your words?" He still did not see the Deathblade and he gripped his fuser.
"It is your decision."
"My fuser has lost charge, proltor."
The resurgent rigger stopped a short distance away.
"Your people have used you. You are only pieces in their game. Ornik is vying for his own power within the Prolian Marriott structure. He is a part of a rogue group who want to control the Marriott. They want you to kill me. The resurgents wish to maintain the peace, a peaceful coexistence."
"The peace? Your people have spread the Kafak,
shouted Delnon 35. Fabrications. The Kafak is naturally occurring. It began on CBX 7. Resurgents have infected our people as a weapon of war, said Avak.
I am infected. The rogue group infected me. They want an incident to continue the war. If you hit me with your fuser, you will spread the Kafak over this planet. Proof of the resurgent treachery. Stir up your people into hating us and vaulting them into power over your leaders. We are alone here on a far outpost. But do what you will do, proltor. Determine the future of your Marriott.
You riggers have stirred our people with the use of your death blade. Your words are the words of a liar who wants to live.
Do you see my death blade, Prolium? I have the fuser. You are young to be a proltor. Have you not the capacity to evaluate the truth? Must you be guided by the impetuousness of youth?
Avak kept the fuser aimed as he spoke. Call the Pulver Crest 35.
They will not respond,
said the rigger.
They want you to die, proltor.
Delnon 35 held his flash entor.
No answer, proltor.
This is a resurgent trick.
Your fuser separates us from informing the Marriott of the rogues.
Kill him.
Oh yes, kill him,
said the rigor, moving forward.
Kill, and you will die yourself. Put Ornak and his Prolians into power, you fool.
Delnon stepped aside.
If he dies, you will justify your position within the Marriott.
Avak's appendage vibrated, and he was not sure who to believe. The rigor was only a few feet away now.
Abandon your fuser and let us travel together and advocate the peace to our leaders. The war perpetuates, proltor. Millions die for nothing.
The rigor's towering figure cast a shadow toward Avak, and he held out his ranger.
The fuser, proltor. Show your intentions. Show your ability to grasp the truth.
Fire now, proltor.
Avak hurled his fuser across the smooth floor and spun it toward the simplex tanks. The rigger's pads darkened, and he exposed his rough skin, covering his chomping cutters. In a single motion, his convoluted pinkish-blue death blade swept through the air and ripped through Delnon 35's head. Through the spray of body liquids, Delnon 35 fell to the floor. Avak tightened his ranges and stepped back. Liar!
What will you do now, proltor?
He extended his death blade in the low light. The fuser was too far away now. Delnon 35 lay dead to his right. Avak backed toward the transparency as the rigger moved with his death blade thrust forward. Avak reached the edge, and the rigger retracted his death blade.
I see you are a Prolian who values peace.
You killed my friend.
Your friend betrayed you and was prepared to die to end the peace.
Then you are infected.
Yes, I will eventually die. But you will report that you have killed me. In reality, we will reach the Circus. We will expose the plot, and the peace will be maintained.
I didn't know which choice to make.
Choices are the only true indicators of who we are, proltor, and sometimes the choices are not clear. We need to be deemed worthy. Choose the peace. Flash your vessel now.
Avak nodded. Ornak, this is the proltor. The rigger is dead. Bring the Pulver Crest back.
Yes, proltor.
Avak tucked his flash entor within his belt and turned in the transparency light. His pads were focused on the extended death blade sweeping toward his upper cavity. Consciousness sputtered as he fell and heard the Circus leaders as they filed into the room. The decision is not worthy of a proltar. Kill him. Bring in the next one to be tested.